So for today's witch word of the day, I am choosing Lovecraftian. Adjective. Can you guess what this is?
It's the writings from H.P. Lovecraft that I've been slowly, at a snail's pace, reading through.
Yeah, so sometimes used interchangeably with cosmic horror, Lovecraftian is a subgenre of horror fiction and weird fiction that emphasizes the horror of the unknowable and incomprehensible more than gore or other elements of shock. It's named after H.P. Lovecraft, the American author. And you may be wondering what this has to do with witches and noir genre. Let me tell you. So, in 1991, there's an HBO film called Cast a Deadly Spell, starring Fred Ward as Harry Philip Lovecraft, a noir detective investigating the theft of the Necronomicon Book of the Dead in an alternate universe, 1948 Los Angeles, where magic was commonplace. Isn't that crazy?
Yes!
And there's a sequel movie called Witch Hunt, set 2 years later.
You haven't even read that?
Wait, what are you doing with the book?
So he has the confidence to finish the story.
Hear now the words of the witches.
This is Kevin, and welcome to Words of the Witches, the Charmed podcast that will guide you through the lesser-known published material in the Charmed universe and decide how it fits into the grand narrative of the TV series. All right, well, welcome to Words of the Witches, episode 67. I'm Kevin, your resident Charmed resource.
And I'm Sean. I just love comic books.
And we have a guest, MJ.
Yes, MJ.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay, Tiger.
It's like Spider-Man, I know. It's like, ooh. Well, welcome to the show. I know you've been listening all the way through.
I have. I love you guys. You're great.
Oh,
It's great.
thank
Like,
you.
I discovered your stuff on Twitter, and then you led me to find X-Men, and it's just been great. Like, my weeks and days are totally set because if I get bored, I have something to listen to.
See?
Yes,
Ta-da.
it's working.
It's really nice.
So, MJ, how did you discover Charmed? How did you become a big fan?
So it's kind of funny, actually. My so on TNT, sorry, ADHD, brain goes faster than my mouth can speak. Anyway, so back in like 2004, it was on TNT every morning, legit from 5 a.m. until 8 a.m. So you know that time for getting up, getting ready for school. And my grandmother was into it hardcore. So, like, legit, she got all of us into it. Me, my uncles, my cousins, because every morning we're getting up, getting ready for work, going to class. That's just what she has on the TV. So as we're eating breakfast, we're watching. And then I just honestly became addicted. Like,
And you were actually coming to join us last minute because we were supposed to have Tess Fowler, the artist of this issue, on for us today. But she's having some things. So, sorry we won't get to hear from her today. But she has agreed to come back at another time. So, that's good.
Yay!
it's exciting.
The one time I like the art, the artist can't show up.
I know, because she's amazing. She's a great artist, and she did the art for this issue. She did the one for Morality Bites Back, and then she did I can't remember, issue 11 of season 9, Last Witch Effort. Last Witch
yes.
Effort. Yeah.
Yes.
So she did those 3, and this was her favorite. So it's so sad that this is whatever.
Aw.
It's fine. I want to address something about last issue. I'm still bitter that nobody liked the last issue as much as I did.
Oh no! Do you want a hug?
I read it again and I'm like, no, I love everything about this issue, so I'm upgrading my ranking to Magically Delicious. I don't care. I think it's so good.
I really liked the setup of, like, you can't have them all together, the consequences. I compared it to, like, Dawn in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But I just didn't like the follow through. It was just kind of like, hey, we're all here, we're all together, and I'm biding my powers. Bye.
But no, because I think that's what something Prue would do, because she's always about doing something that's selfless and protecting her sisters and everything. Of course, I know how it goes after, so maybe that's why I'm more okay with it too. But I get because you think Prue is supposed to be this powerful thing in this comics, and why would she give up the magic and things to come. But for me, it's such a Prue thing to do. She didn't want to be a burden on her sisters. She's like, her time has passed. Of course, she'd make the decision. And of course, Paige would feel a little out of place because she had these feelings in the show of being compared to Prue and trying to live up to Prue, and she finally worked past that. But having Prue in person would totally bring these feelings back up. So it's like all these really emotional things are happening, and I just love everything that happened in it.
I think maybe if we saw the powers going crazier around Prue, it would have made the sacrifice like a little bigger for
Yeah,
him and maybe
I get
a little
that
more
part.
worth it. But
Yeah.
just the build up wasn't enough, I
Yeah.
guess.
Okay. But I just had to throw it out there. I'm still giving that one at Magically Delicious because
Well, you can throw it, but I'm not catching it.
that's fine. All right. We did have some poll results. Oh my god, some very serious poll results.
Yay!
I asked, if you died today, what would you regret?
I don't think it's appropriate. What I regret.
I think everything's appropriate on the show.
Sounds sexy to me.
It is
Yeah.
a little sexy. I would regret not doing what I want to do and travel the world and at least take, a dick from at least one continent, at least, or country.
Okay.
Hey.
There you go, goals.
It's like they tried it all. I think that would be it. Yeah.
Okay.
So a dick buffet.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, there you go.
But, like,
no harm in that.
All of it.
We got quite a few responses. Some people said absolutely nothing, like Chris Jacko, and Man PS says nothing. Pycon Helios Alpha says, I regret not being able to tell my friends and family that I love them one last time. And we've been getting that. Legion Ivory said something similar. Stills by Mick is like me, by not having to meet the cast of Charmed. Charmed Collector 1329 says, not traveling everywhere I wanted to go. So, a little bit of all that stuff. Let's get into the silence. Hear now the words of the witches. So we're covering issue 19 of the comic books, season 9, issue 19. Crossed, triple crossed. So it's just like cross, double cross from the show, but it's different. It's like a new continuation.
I love that so much.
Yeah. And it's another kind of noir style issue. It was published March 7th, 2012, written by Paul Ruditis, artwork by Tess Fowler, colors by Michael Spicer, letters by Jim Campbell, and edited by Matt Rogers. So, do you like this cover?
I honestly love
love
it.
it.
It makes me think of the episode. I didn't remember the name of the episode, but it's when she does the truth. Paige does the truth still on her boyfriend, I believe it is. But she's all dressed out. It's when she sings for him for the first time at the club, not Piper's club, at his club. What's that boyfriend's name?
Nate,
Thank
Sense
you.
and Sensibility.
Yes.
Season 5, episode 20. Yes. Yeah, that was Norman Reedus. So crazy.
Oh.
And so that was that episode. But then, like, the episode after, that's when he went to jail, and then she did the truth spell on him. So,
but yeah, that's what I'm getting into the vibes of this cover is back when she was performing for him, because she was wearing like pretty much almost the same dress but silver. Her hair is done nicely, but I also get like Roger Rabbit, Jessica Rabbit vibes.
very much that. Yeah,
Like,
Paige.
a lot.
And she's got this crazy, like, coiffed hairstyle. Fever! Like, I don't know. And then we have, like, the detective door. And then there's a guy in a suit holding a pacifier. And this is the only issue that has, like, a subtitle, like the novels did. It says, their new baby came with some serious daddy issues.
I ain't gonna lie, I just noticed that and it took me everything not to start geeking out. Like, I wanted to figure it out.
Yeah. And I thought this was really clever too. The thing on the front that says Zenoscope 350 cents.
I was just looking at that.
Very clever. It starts off, and we have like this kind of thing that Phoebe had in her issue where she's like writing a column. This is almost like a noir film introduction. It's like, life is hard in the city by the bay. And it says, no good deed goes unpunished. We see Paige and Henry in the office of Mr. Cowan, her old boss. That's crazy. Yeah, did you catch that?
I did.
I
Her old boss from South Bay Social Services. Oh, and it says actually his name is right there, Robert Cowan, Social Services. So if you didn't know, it gives you a huge clue.
Oh.
I'm just trying to think back to this. Did they ever say his name in the show?
Oh yeah. So pretty much they're sitting in there, and he's informing them that he has found Henry Jr.'s parents, his family where he came from. He said, telling them that they have to tell him about his son, and Paige is freaking out. She's like, I don't care what the rules say. I'm not about to turn my son over to a criminal. So he's from a criminal family, and they've already adopted him, and it's too late.
Oh my.
Oh my. I do have a you look familiar moment at this bottom page.
It's funny, she's so familiar to me, though. Reminds me of this old stray that used to hang outside my loft.
Familiars. That's what I'm looking for.
Have we met before? You look familiar.
Paige's necklace is
Oh.
the same necklace she wore from season 5 to the beginning of season 7.
Yes.
Wow.
I honestly strictly remember it from the Goddess episodes because it sticks out so hardcore with her white dress, and then.
I mean, there's no green in it. There should be some emeralds in there. They skimped out on that, but the shape is there.
Right.
So it's the same necklace.
All right, so we get like this blue, pretty like cottage-looking house. It's pretty cute. So it's this house, and they're pretty much talking about how they pretty much want to run with Henry Jr. Like, Paige is over it. She does not care. She's like, he's mine now. He's our baby. We got to do this. And then it also shows over to them at a computer trying to figure it out. And Paige is like, you know, we can't do that, right? Like, we can't steal this baby, Paige. I mean, I know it'd be easy because you can just like orbit somewhere, but we can't do that. That's not who we are. And she's like, I can't let him get away. Or I can't let him live with his father. Look at this. And then it shows his father and what he did. Almost every one of the father's relatives died violently, all but Henry's father and grandfather. But the police don't have any proof of their crimes. We can't keep Henry just because they're Mercer. Is that Mercer? Sorry.
Yeah, that's
have
the
bad
family
reputation.
name. So the Mercer
Okay.
is the Mercer family, and they're like a crime family. They're the mob.
It's like Sopranos almost. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Ooh.
And then it shows Paige. Okay, I'm just gonna say why they make her head look so big. But we got Paige here with the big head, and then she's holding her book from the cover. It's pretty nice. But she's like, maybe we should get a detective of our own to do the digging. The cost that costs money we can't afford. Coming from, I'm assuming it's Henry. I might have a way to work around that. And then Paige has this, like I said, this amazing book where she's on the cover.
I mean, it's weird. It's weird because they made the cover of this issue like the cover of the book in the issue.
Right.
Except for he's holding a gun and not a pacifier, and she's looking all sexy.
Mm-hmm.
She's like grabbing her butt.
Right. So I don't know if it's really her, but it's essentially her from the cover.
In my mind, she did like a side job, and she did a glamour to make herself look a lot, get that style. And she's like, we're gonna do this in case I need it.
The double MacGuffin, a Richard Quinn mystery. So we got a new Noir book. Oh, did she steal this one from Magic School too? I don't know.
You know how people call detectives dicks, and Dick is short for Richard? Does that make him Dick Quinn?
Yeah. That's a superhero name if I ever heard one. Or a porn name.
Dick Quinn. We'll go with porn.
Yeah.
Superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. On the next page, we are in the attic. Back in the manor in the attic. Paige is making a potion, and we have the little Noir like story part. It says, the doll had powers of her own that she wasn't afraid to use. She needed someone that could operate on both sides of the law and took a page from her past to help protect her future. Oh. And then Phoebe's standing behind her, and she's like, the baby's kicking. She does not like that you're doing this. And Paige is like, whatever, bitch. The baby's like 3 months old. It doesn't even have legs yet.
Like,
you don't even know if it's a he or she. You have fucking gas. Get that gas away from me. And then we have Piper like, como se dice personal gain much? And Paige is like, but it's for a good reason. Like, Henry Jr. cannot be raised by this crime syndicate. Like, we need to help him. And then we see this beautiful, I get to say it, rhyme time, Kevin, rhyme time.
Thank you. Yeah.
Should we try a spell?
Why not? Let's try a spell.
In the wind, I sing this rhyme. Bring death before me, before my time.
You've really got to lay off the rhyming, Prue.
Wonderful. Witty, but wordy.
I did the rhyme. I will do the time. Good night.
And we see Paige doing the spell. It says, buckthorn, nutmeg, and a few bleeding hearts. Bind some old school skills with internet smarts. Let him know what I know, see what I've seen. Everything else give him power to glean. To fight modern crime lords and how they think. Send a streetwise detective that bleeds ink.
That's like the clunkiest spell ever.
No.
I'm like, you're really struggling with this one, huh?
Right.
I feel like she was like trying to rhyme, but not rhyme.
Yeah.
But her boobs
Awkward.
look good.
I mean, it's a beautiful picture for sure. So
So I don't know if anyone remembers Sabrina, the animated series,
mhm.
but this picture of Paige doing the potion literally makes me think of that. Like I get Sabrina, the animated
I can
series
see
from
that.
it.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. So then the next page, after her spell is complete, we see this black and white Dick Quinn come out. He's like, that's when I walked in, or magically appeared out of thin air. So it's really fun. And Phoebe is like, oh my God. And Piper's like, oh my God. And then Paige is like, oh, I didn't really expect this to happen, that he would be black and white. Oh well. So Paige and him get in a little disagreement, and he's all like being really sexist towards her, calling her Bambino. And he's like, I'm here to provide whatever assistance your pretty little self requires. Call me Dick Quinn. And then he's like, and then she grabs him. She's like, but yeah, come with me. I need to make you more presentable. He's like, wow, I'm being dragged by the lady. Oh.
But
Yeah.
seriously, look at that smirk. Like, he's
I know.
So excited
Yeah.
about it.
It's giving
And
me
Paige
very
is
much.
just so mad.
I know. It's, like,
No.
it's giving me very Singing in the Rain. Like,
So I'm pretty sure we're here in the bathroom where Prue saw Leo's orbs.
yeah.
That's what I'm seeing, and I'm loving this because it's definitely giving back. I hate that I don't remember the name of episodes, but when the movies came out, and so we have Piper walking in with some clothes. We got Paige getting Dick. I forgot his last name, Quinn. Right?
Quinn.
I just remember the dick part. I'm sorry, but we got Paige covering up his face to cover up all that black and white. And I almost asked, like, why would it be black and white? But then I guess a book's white and black wording, so that makes
Well,
sense.
yeah. And think about when she went into the novel. She went into the Noir novel. They were black
Well,
and
that's
white.
what I was
in the-
thinking too, and I was like, well, wait, and then I was like, that's right, it was black and white in the show as well.
Yeah.
Totally
Mhm.
get it. But so yeah, we got Paige, just making him all pretty, trying to make him look somewhat normal, with that bitter look still on her face. She's still so mad that this guy is going to be her savior. But it starts with Paige being like, I was gonna put another spell, but then I was like, maybe I shouldn't because he's already a spell to begin with. So putting a spell on top of a spell could have some consequences. And Piper, being Piper, walks in with some clothes, and she looks annoyed just as well. And she's like, well, he looks about the same size as Leo, so these clothes should work. But I thought they were towels, to be honest. I didn't realize they were clothes. And then, so she puts him down, and then Piper, being Piper, is like, oh, don't forget about his hands, girl. Black and white, that's noticeable. I need the Mercers to go. Oh, I keep forgetting the last name's Mercers. I'm sorry, guys.
No
I need the
worries.
Mercers to go away forever. Can we? I don't know. Plant some evidence, maybe? Like, she's trying to literally scam this guy. Like, she wants to make him go away forever. Like,
yeah.
he's already a criminal to begin with. She's like, what's a little bit more stuff we can do to make sure he's actually gone? So he's all like, I gotta do what I have to do. I have to look around, figure this guy out, maybe feel him out a little bit, see what I gotta do.
Mm-hmm.
And he's looking at his hand. He's just like, smooth. Like, so this is what it feels like to.
Smooth.
This feels like to, I guess, to be a
Smooth.
This page is actually a twofer. You look familiar moment.
Oh!
Have we met before? You look familiar.
OMG! That thing where this top panel in the bathroom when she's doing his makeup. First of all, we have the one. It's very similar to when Phoebe was doing Billy's makeup from Kill It Before It Dies in Chick Flick.
Oh my god, isn't this a bathroom Piper hidden? Hidden? Remember, she's like, I'm hiding in the shower.
Of course, this shower curtain is not the iconic shower curtain. I did notice that's not the same. But we do have these 3 pictures on the wall. That cat picture, that star picture, and that sun picture are all in the series. That star picture has moved around throughout the house, but it has been in the bathroom quite a bit in that position. And so those 3 pictures in the bathroom is taken from like a set picture, which is really cool too.
Nice.
But I also got me thinking, because remember in Piper's Place, I talked about how is this bathroom is inconsistent? How do they have a shower and a tub at the same time? I was wrong for calling it out. The layout is this. So we have this door here. The tub is there. I don't know why they don't have the lilac shower curtain. I'm a little disappointed they don't have the iconic shower curtain. But then they have the sink over there on the left. On the other side of the sink is the toilet. And then if you keep it going straight, there's another door on that side. And then in the corner from that door is the shower that I was talking about.
Okay.
So that's their bathroom layout.
I was going to ask that too. So like one bathroom has a stand-up shower and has the whole bathtub with a shower still as well.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of a long bathroom. And there's 2 doors in it for it.
That thing's probably the size of their master bedroom. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I'm glad I could clarify that now, because if I didn't get that right, eventually I'd been really mad at myself.
So it looks like next, so they orbed into the Mercer's place. They're looking for evidence. And Dick Quinn gives us the most convoluted little statement ever. He says, hey, these little electronic boxes that hold all the evidence of your criminal dealings are so much more fun to crack than a safe. Oh. And Paige basically says, like, glad you're enjoying yourself when my son's life is in jeopardy. And he's like, easy, dollface. You can still be a hero and have your fun. And she says, number 1, bitch, heroin. Number 2, bitch, you better move your fucking hand or else I'm going to see if you bleed ink. And he says, I like a fiery dame, but we don't have time for threats. Somebody's coming and I'm just sad it's not me. Oh!
Oh!
I'm having too much fun with this voice. And then Daddy and son Mercer are seen outside the office. Daddy Mercer's about to unlock the door, and he opens it, and he looks in and he says, what the hell's going on in here? That's how he sounds to me.
I mean, accurate.
Accurate.
But this page has another "you look familiar" moment.
Have we met before? You look familiar.
Wow.
If you notice this, a lot of the multiple "you look familiars" are on Tessa's comics, because she does the research and she knows the show. So anytime she does the artwork for them, there's always going to be these "you look familiar" moments. I've used this before, but it's very much the Prue and Cole in The Good and the Bad and the Curse, where Prue's on the wall and Cole's like over her. Yeah. Exactly that.
Legit. I just watched this episode. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this
touching his chesticle like Prue did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think this is even more accurate than the last time I used it. But there you go. So on the next page, the Mercers walk in and they're just sitting there like, "Hey, we're not gonna try to hide. Yeah, you caught us. Now what are you gonna do about it?" And then he's like, "Get the boys!" And then, what's his face? Dick Quinn. He's like, "Wait, I got an offer." And then he calls Paige Trixie. "This little kid's Trixie. Oh, wow. We got a business proposition for you." And he's like, "Get out of my office. I don't care what you got to say. Point my fingers at you. I'm a Republican." And so...
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is a "you look familiar" moment, because he looks like George W. Bush right there.
Well, do you remember they did have George W. Bush George W. Bush in The Office in The 7-Year Witch?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Your turn. You get a long one. Sorry.
sorry.
You get a long one, just like this lady's nose.
I was looking at her chin too. I was like, oh my god, what were they thinking when they drew you? But,
Sunglasses Coffee Guy is kind of cute.
and then like how we have this other girl too that's just sitting there enjoying that she's just out of her house, just a smile, a cup of coffee on her face. Like, she's just happy to be there. Like,
She just killed her husband.
probably she's like, I needed this stress. It's too much. But so they orb out of the art. I'm actually assuming they walk out of the office. Clearly, they didn't orb. There's a lot of mortals there, but I'm assuming they're outside of the building now, and there's like this little cafe. Because Paige is clearly pissed off, and she's like, "That was a waste of time, bro. Like, what are we doing?" He's like, "You always give up this fast." So he's sitting there enjoying his coffee, and he's all like, "This coffee tastes like candy. This is great. We can sit here, get coffee, figure it out." Paige is not enjoying her time. Again, she's got that look like, what did I get myself into? How did this spell backfire so wrong? She's got a nice cup of joe in front of her, and she hasn't even touched it. It's a big cup, because you know she's stressed. And so he's all like, the weak link, of course, guys like Menser, you're never going to get, he's too protected, but that son of his, your baby's papa, he could get us exactly what we need. So Paige is like, I'll see what I can do. Care to tell me on what we're waiting for exactly? Like, I don't want my coffee, and you already said yours tastes like candy. I'm sure you're almost done. And he's all like, the MacGuffin, of course. The ones that blow in the wind and the wide. Sorry, I read that wrong. Master's computer files were a wash. No surprise. Crime lords today, and in my time, always keep the good stuff close. His files have to be on something he can hold, something he can hide. So it's on his dick, I'm guaranteeing you.
You're obsessed.
I'm sorry, I fast. But clearly this, and I'm just pointing out too, on the bottom part of this, like we have a whole little happy family, and I was like, oh my god, they have another kind of attractive dude there. Like these beards are so great, and I'm jealous, even though they're drawn.
Yeah.
And he's like, here we go, follow my lead.
So yeah, Paige and Dick Quinn are now on the trail of Little Mercer. They saw him exit the building, and Dick says, "Shame your pop didn't want to hear us out. You look like the kind of guy that knows a good deal when he sees one, don't he, Trix?" Oh. And she says, "Yeah, Richie." He goes, "Richie." Oh. And then little boy Mercer says, "Look, my pop makes the deal, see? I don't know what I do yet. I'm sure he'll tell me when he needs to." These voices sound the same. I'm trying to do a mob voice, but it sounds just like the Noir voice.
I mean, at least you guys can do it.
Thank you. So let's see. And then Dick says, maybe he needs you now. Trixie here said it might be nice to have some alone time while she fills you in on the offer. And Paige, looking completely nonplussed, says, "I did." And so basically, like, Dick sets up a date between little boy Mercer and Paige.
It's so uncomfortable.
It really is. And then, like, Paige is basically, like, he's barely legal, because I think he's, like, 20, and she's in her late 30s by this point.
Right.
Yeah, that's awkward. And Dick says, "We need access to their house. Mercer's calendar says he's out tonight. It's a big place. We can't just go popping in on our own. See?" And he says, "Besides, this will give you a chance to get to know the kid. Maybe he ain't so bad." And she says, wait, what the fuck happened here? As she's looking at something.
Yeah. So the next page, she steps into the attic, and Piper and Phoebe are there by the Book of Shadows. Behind them, the background is all black and white. The whole room is black and white. And then Paige is like, "What the hell?" And then Piper's like, "Oh, it's noticeable." And they're like, "What happened?" And then Phoebe's like, "I think your little visitor brought the black and white world with him, and it's spreading throughout the manor." So they say, "We got to get it back in that book before things go way too crazy." And then Dick Quinn is just like checking himself out in the mirror like Gaston. He's like, "Ooh, yeah."
Gaston.
Yeah.
So I ain't gonna lie, like when I was obviously looking at everything, like when Paige is all like, "What happened?" and Piper's like, "It's noticeable." Until like I actually paid attention, actually looked, like I was like, "What's going on? That's noticeable. What's happening?" And
Oh,
then he was
yeah.
like, "It's black and white," and I was like, "Oh, it is!" Like, okay. It took me a whole minute, but so we're still in the attic, and Dick is still checking himself out, thinking he's like Ryan Reynolds or somebody. I couldn't tell you. And Paige is all like, I can't. I need him. He knows how the criminal's mind works from this time and his time. It's a good catch. And then Phoebe's all like, Paige, we've been doing this long enough to understand a few things about the bad guys. We ain't dumb bitch. We have detective work too. We work with cops. And then Paige is like, bad demons, bad humans are a different breed. And then Paige is all like, I can't risk this. It's too important. I love that little boy. It would kill me if he had to live in that family. It could kill him too. It could make him a thug. He could become a new crime lord. I cannot have that in my life. And then Piper's all like, I get that, Paige, but we can't keep Dick here for good. Phoebe's too obsessed with Dick. But I can get work on holding back the black and white, but nothing we've done so far has stopped it. And then Phoebe, all being Phoebe's like, this time tomorrow, we're going to have to start hiding the house from the neighbors. That's all the time I need, according to, I'm assuming it's Dick. And then he's sitting here in the back panel. Don't know where his eyes went, but he's all creeping on Paige. Like, and then Paige is still annoyed. Like, crap, I'm still stuck with him. But
I love how they illustrated this eye roll. Like, you can see her just going,
literally,
like, it's great.
Straight up irritated. And she's like, I hope it's okay if I dip into your closet, Piper. I doubt my husband will want me getting ready for my date with 20-year-old thug in front of the kids.
Only in Charmed.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So on the next page, Paige is at the Mercer house. She's on her date. Little boy Mercer has 2 glasses of, I'm guessing Kool-Aid, but it might be wine. And he says, "You look delicious. I've always found older women attractive." And Paige says, Paige says, "Here's a tip. Maybe we don't call people older women." And she says, "But I had you pegged." So she wants to peg him, I guess.
Just like Brent in issue 2.
She says, "But I had you pegged for someone who prefers girls your own age." And he's like, "Well, I did once." And then he takes a slurp of his Kool-Aid. And then he says, "But the last bitch that I had didn't like my lifestyle. So it was her loss, whatever." And then Paige kind of gestures to a very elaborate frame behind her with just a dollar bill, a tiny little dollar bill in this huge elaborate frame. And she says, "What's with the art?" And he says, "Nothing, just the first dollar daddy ever laundered." So not even like earned or like got, it's laundered.
They're not even shy about it. Like, yeah, it's like, we're powerful crime. We do crime. Get with it.
We do crime.
Like...
We do crime because. And then he's like, "You want to see some really cool? Check this action." Who says that? Check this action.
like 17-year-olds. Like, dude, bro, look what I got. Oh, what's my tattoo say?
And he lifts up his shirt to show 3 like thick lines or dashes.
Looks like they're bullets.
Oh, they're bullets. You're right. Yeah, they're bullets. He says, "I've got a tat for every person I've disappeared so far. First one was when I was 14. And Paige is looking at her nails and her ring completely nonplussed. And she says, "How nice." And then she says, "Why don't we enjoy our drinks over on the couch while I tell you about the deal?"
But I love how she's holding the grape juice. But even if this is wine, they don't show her ever drinking it. So I don't find it continuity. She might just be playing a part.
Oh, that's true.
She never drinks it. She's just holding it.
I forgot about her not drinking.
Yeah.
That blew my mind when you brought that up in one of the earlier
Yeah.
issues. I was like, I never ever put that together or thought about it. Like, she has made comments about it, but yeah, right. Like, she never, when they do
Mhm.
cheers and everything, even in the show, like, she never actually drinks.
Yeah. There is one episode in Witch Wars where they're at Magic School and they celebrate and they all have the champagne. And she's holding the thing of champagne. We don't ever see her drink it. She pours other people's
Right.
stuff. So that was confusing to me. Like, why is she holding champagne? But still, she doesn't drink it. So there's technically not a continuity error, but makes you think.
It was the toast, so that way she could give it to Leo because he was stressed.
Yeah, maybe. Here, Leo, have another one. But Leo's not supposed to drink either. Because he said he doesn't drink, but then he sometimes does drink. So, but then the next page here, so it's continuing her little date, and she opens the ring on her finger, and it's like
This sneaky girl.
Sneaky girl. She like dips something from her ring into his little grape juice, and she's like, "Cheers to new friends and new business ventures." Tinkle, tinkle. And then he gets knocked out. Little baby Mercer gets knocked out. And she's like, "Quit!" and she orbs him. She remote orbs him to her. And he's carrying the laptop, which, did you notice, has like a pear on it? Instead of an apple, it's like a little pear.
Oh.
So he appears and he's like, "Nice work on the kid. Let's get to that wall safe." Yeah. And then she's like, "Here's the dollar bills, y'all." And then she like points to the frame.
So they open the frame and there's this giant safe in front of them. And Mr. Dig's all like, "I should have figured there'd be a code. My bad. I don't suppose you can get you can use your magic on this, can you?" And she's like, "Not if I don't know what's in there. And my bad, you're using modern colloquialisms." I can't say that word.
Colloquialisms.
Thank you. And then he's all like, "You're right. We have to go old school." She goes, "What are you doing? There aren't any tumblers to listen for." And he's all like, "You were the one that made me with internet smarts. Let's just say I have a way with electronics." I love that. So he actually gets it open. I'm very surprised by this. He gets it open and he's all like, "Now this is a skill that can come in handy, I think." And he finds this little flash drive, a gun, a wad of money, and an envelope. And I bet you anything, the envelope is full of naughty pictures of the dad. I bet you.
Oh my.
So he picks up the thumb drive and he's all like, "I think we found our MacGuffin. This is what we need."
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think it's interesting? Because I remember when we had talked about telekinetic orbing, I mentioned how she can't see things in safes unless she knows what it is.
Right.
She can't orb them out.
I picked up on that.
Yeah. But if you remember way back to the novel Spirit of the Wolf, way back, like book 12 or whatever, there's the wampum belt that's in the safe. But because she knew what the wampum belt looked like, she could orb that out. Because
So
she had
now,
a visual
my
reference.
only question, and what confused me from the get-go, because even in that book too, like she orbed something from out of the safe.
Mm-hmm.
But back at Phoebe and Cole's place, she just orbed the freaking vault door.
Right.
So that's why right here, I was like, why didn't she just say door, but then, just let it fall onto the ground instead of trying to catch it? Like,
You would think. I mean, that's always a workaround. I don't know what's in the safe, but I can orb this door because it's right in front of me.
right. Because like, you see her do it literally at Phoebe and Cole's condo. So that's like, that was the first thing I thought. I was like, wait, why isn't she just saying safe door like she did the first time? Like,
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
All right. On the next page, Paige and Dick are looking at the pair computer or Peach computer, pair computer, and Paige says, "I don't know what half of this means." And then Dick says, "I know exactly what it means. Once it finishes downloading, we'll have more than you need to put the Mercers away for life, father and son." And Paige says, "Okay, cool. I'll just orb you back to the manor. We'll just get everything to the police. Well, what could go wrong?" And then we don't see it, but she orbs him out. And then little boy Mercer wakes up and he's like, What happened? And Paige is like, "You know what? I don't know if I should be making deals with little bitches who can't hold their liquor. Don't bother showing me out. I'll find my own way out. Goodbye." And this is my favorite part of the whole story.
It's
So
so
she
funny.
orbs into her sisters, and she says, "Success! Quinn and I got the files." And Piper's like, "Yeah, your dick, he like orbed back in, but then he like took off." And Phoebe's like, "More importantly, what happened to you?" And Paige's like, "What do you mean?" I like how like the dick apparently orbed in and he ran away, but neither of them bothered to do anything.
Right, like,
I'm just gonna
okay, bye.
They're like, "Where's he going?" Oh
That
well.
reminds me of another episode where Piper was like, well, I think it was Piper, but she was like, how was I supposed to stop him? Like, because she wanted to go out the door or something like that. What do you want me to do?
Not to mention Piper could have just frozen him, but no, that's just, yeah, that's a Paige problem.
Uh-huh.
Legit though. I love how she always forgets though that she seems to have that power.
Right. But she's like, Paige needs to learn to clean up her own messes.
So right at this point, she's got kids to worry about now, not Paige.
Yeah, but they're like, "What's wrong with you?" And Paige is like, "What do you mean?" And then you turn to the next page, and Phoebe is holding up a mirror to Paige, and Paige is looking really like very mannish in that mirror. It's the stink eye face. I don't know what that face is.
It's the eyebrows for me.
I don't know. It's got like a little pig nose in there too. It's really weird. That's ugly. But she's black and white. So now the house downstairs is still color, but Paige is sitting there all Betty Boop style in her black and white. Phoebe's like, "We need to fix this," and Paige is like, "I'm not worried about that right now. I just gotta get the Mercers, that computer with all the files on it. We worked so hard to get it. Oh." And it's like, "I just don't know why Quinn left me. He was like my guy." He's like, and then Piper's like, "Hey, he's on the phone. He wants to talk to you." But I have another "you look familiar" moment at this page
Have we met before? You look familiar.
because it was very reminiscent of when Phoebe flashed black and white in Lost and Bound with Grams's ring.
Oh yeah. So Paige grabs the phone, all black and white in her black and whiteness, and she's all like, "How'd you get this number? I don't understand. Like, you literally made me. How do you think I got it?" And then Dick's all like, "Do you really want to waste time with these pointless questions, or do you want to get down to business? I don't have long, and I'm on a painful because you didn't give me any money, and I'm running out of quarters." Where did you find a payphone these days? Paige says. But then Dick's on the phone and he's like, "You want the computer or not?" Paige is all like, "Sorry, baby." And he's like, "I'm offering a trade. The computer for me getting to stay here permanently. I like this time and really like my new skills." Oh, I see what he's doing. Oh, he can get a good job being like a computer person. Anyway, then Paige, back in the manor. Nice. Still all black and white, still looking good, but now she's checking out her nails, trying to see if she likes staying black and white or if she should go back to color. But she's like, there's just one problem with that plan. And he goes, "Problems are your deal. Just make it happen." And she's like, "It's going to take a while to create the right spell. Meet me at the manor in an hour." So then we got Piper and Phoebe. Phoebe's got this look on her face like, "Paige, seriously, this has been a bad idea since you freaking brought the guy here. What are we doing?" Piper's just sitting there waiting to see how Paige is going to fix this mess. You can see it in her eyes. She's, yes. And then Paige is like, "Bought us some time because I have a plan." And then this is when Piper and Phoebe literally like, ... Praise Jesus.
Yeah.
So fast forward a little, we have Dick showing up at the manor, and Piper opens the door and says, "Good, you brought the pooter." And he says, "I plan to keep my end of the bargain so long as you dames keep yours."
See?
Looks like, see? So they're walking upstairs, and everything has turned back to color so far on the stairs. The stairs, Kevin, which are a fucking lie. They don't go anywhere. I just want to point that out.
Still on that, eh?
Yep, still there. So then Dick Dick says, looks like you solved the black and white problem. And Piper says, we've had some success, but not all of it has been solved. And they walk into the attic, which is still all gray. But we have Paige, who is in color once again. And he says, I hope you didn't start without me, see? And Phoebe says, don't worry. We knew you'd want to keep an eye on things. And he says, got that right, bitch. And I'm watching very careful like. I know what it took to create me. I'll know what you need to keep me here for the long haul. See?
Yeah. So the next page has Paige quotation marks doing another spell to let Richard Dick Quinn stay. And this spell is another rhyme time moment. Ooh. And it says, bleeding hearts, buckthorn, nutmeg, and more. Bind past with present, now with before. Turn Paige to flesh with a touch of pink. I release him now with blood from ink. That flowed so much better than the first one.
Yes.
It really did.
So they learned. But she does the spell, and then he's like, I don't feel any difference, eh? And then Piper's like, here, wipe off the makeup and see for yourself. And so he goes to the mirror, and he's trying to wipe off his face, and he's like, my skin is saying so beautiful. And he's like, okay, here's the pooter. And then here's what you've been waiting for. Hands it to Paige. And then on the side, she's like, thanks, but I'm actually over here. And that's that.
So I just want to point out, can we talk about how like she drew duck lips on Paige when she sang the spell?
She
did.
And how Piper totally looks possessed.
Yeah.
I was looking like,
those dark eyes.
Literally. But so we're on the next page, and he gives Paige the computer, and I'm kind of confused, but I'm not confused. We'll see what happens. And Paige is all like, you fell for the old bait and switch, thanks to a glamour combined with the spell to mimic my voice. So it was actually a glamour of Paige being all back to colorful and brightness, and she's still black and white, unfortunately. And I have a strange feeling that she likes this a lot better than actually being in color. But then she grabs the computer, and then it shows Henry all of a sudden as well, who shows up next to her. And she goes, but since my husband has no magic, any spell he performs is gonna be a bust.
So do you get it? Henry was Paige.
Okay.
Henry was glamored as Paige.
Okay, I'm not gonna. That's what confused me at first, because I was like, "Oh, was the glamour in a spell to mimic your voice?"
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Wait, so then who?" That's where I was lost. I was like, I
Yeah.
thought she just created like another her, like a clone. But then Henry then glamours back to himself, and he's like, "It's all here, Paige. Everything we need to send those criminals away for a long, long time." But my skin. I'm assuming it's Dick that's crying about this.
Yeah.
Because then we see Paige pouring, it looks like a potion on his head. And Paige goes, glamours are all kinds of useful, just like potions. Back into the book, doll face. Then it shows a little quote thing that says, this is weird. That's thanks for ya. Travel through time and space to clear up someone else's headache, and all you get is return as a trip home to a black and white life.
Yeah, so all these little squares are from the perspective of Dick Quinn. It's him telling the story.
Okay.
And it's interesting though, because she glamored him to look like he's color. Why didn't she just do that before instead of putting the makeup on him?
Right.
That's true, because they used the spell anyway that she said not to.
They purposely wanted to give us that callback to being Phoebe's painting.
Mm-hmm.
So next, we have to really get in the mindset of the Putnam Annual Spelling Bee.
I was in that.
I
played Leaf Coney Bear.
I knew you'd like that because I knew you were in it, and I love that show. I saw my friend in it.
So good.
So we have Paige and Henry with Henry Jr. in the nursery, And I'm just going to read this because it's funny. Henry says, I know I should kind of feel like we just STOLE Henry Jr., but I don't regret what we did at all. And then Paige says, especially after his FATHER said when Bob told him the news after his ARREST. And apparently Henry can't spell because he says, what was that? No. And then Paige says, let's just say I don't expect him to SUE for CUSTODY if he gets off. But you don't think that's possible, do you? And Henry says, with all we turned over, the federal prosecutor assured me that both of them are going away for LIFE. And Paige says, you couldn't spell out federal prosecutor? And Henry says, no, I'm not that smart.
I'm not that smart.
Says,
that's what I sang. That's the song I sang.
He says he doesn't even understand the word Sue. I'm sure this little baby doesn't understand any of these words.
What's the point of this? Why are you spelling?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, is maybe one of the twins, like, are they? They're not even old enough to spell either, so I don't understand.
Yeah.
Because my first thought was like, oh, maybe one of the older kids are, in the room, and so they don't want them to find out. But then I was like, wait, no, this is clearly Paige's house. Like, and her two twins aren't even old enough to read or spell. So what? Like,
maybe it's this evil-looking white unicorn with the bloody horn. They don't want it to know what they're saying.
I was tempted to make that a "you look familiar" moment too, because it reminded me of the unicorn from The Day the Magic Died. I think that's a white unicorn callback, but I'm not going to. But it was just enough that I was thinking, no. Okay.
And then we have this last little message from Dick. It says, no biggie. It's all good, as they say. A world that mixes magic and mortality has its own brand of heartache, where even innocence can bring a fair share of danger. See? And then we have this little message that says, the END.
Or is it?
I'm not gonna lie, now I'm actually really confused because I'm looking at the background of everything, and like, is this their house? And if so, why is there a picture of just them and the baby? And like, where are the other two kids?
Oh yeah,
and by the crib. Like,
well, they probably have a different room, because remember, the one with the twins has those big fat ugly faces of the twins. Above their crib.
That's right.
So this is probably his room. They're like, we're gonna give him a nice family picture of us together to show him that he's one of us too.
Right.
But not the other girls, because they got the big fat ugly faces over there. So we're okay, So so the next page is an epilogue. Oh my god, an epilogue.
EPILOGU.
Epilogue. So Paige and Henry are walking out of the room, and Henry is like, it was fun being in your shoes again, even if I didn't get the cool powers this time, because the one time in the Twin Identity when they shared the body, he was orbiting things. He's like, cool, so that was very fun for him. Paige is like, I'm glad that our son has a mortal role model, because he's immortal, just like you. But then we see a little hand point in the air, a little zappy is coming out of it, and the bottom panel has everything frozen. He froze his crib. What is Henry doing with his powers? Gasp!
He's Iceman.
He's Iceman. What are you feeling? What are you feeling?
I think when I first read this, it didn't click to me that was Henry Jr. I assumed it was one of the twins, but this time as we were reading, I'm like, that's totally Henry Jr., and I am so intrigued by this. Like, who are these Mercers, and why do they have magic? This is so cool.
I mean, we don't know the reasons yet. We'll get into it, but let's get into our power play for the day. Why don't we? Power play. Power play. It's cryokinesis. Yes. So one with this ability can psychically cause ambient moisture to freeze at will, imbuing ice into or extract it from the surrounding environment. Applications include channeling in the form of ice beams that freeze whatever it comes into contact with. You can make ice walls and domes. You can shape ice into weapons for combats. You can slide on the ice and have increased mobility and speed through the gliding. And because ice appears naturally in snow, slush, hail, icicles, and glaciers and frost and all that stuff, you can gain control over multiple varied structures and environments. So that's cool. And you can also summon blizzards and ice-related disasters. You can be like a Sub-Zero and freeze opponents to death, trapping them in an ice that slowly kills their cells, and then you can shatter them into pieces, much like Piper did in Bright and Gloom, except that's a different power. That's molecular inhibition. It's a little bit different, but similar to that. But it has limitations of, because ice is cold, that you might freeze yourself. You could give yourself frostbite if you use it too much, if you're not immune. And then it can melt under extreme heat. And vibrations are difficult to freeze. So if you're fighting somebody who has like sound or earth-based powers, they'll be a strong foe for you. Okay, that's all I got.
What's going on and how this little boy is doing what he's doing. And, like, what are the odds, though, that he still some way, somehow got a Warren power?
Yeah, well, the thing is,
I know!
I know what's happening, and I can't say it's not what you expect.
Oh.
I'm excited.
So, but what are your overall thoughts about this issue?
I liked it. I thought it was really fun. I liked how many, flashbacks there were, pretty much.
Callback?
Like, for instance, like we said, for callbacks, thank you. And like the whole page turning black and white, I just honestly love that.
Yeah.
And how she did not care at all. Like, it's fine, I can stay this way. I'm gonna go to the police station and give them this computer. And if they ask what's wrong, I'm gonna say I got COVID. I don't know.
I really like this one. I think we're definitely seeing the writing getting better. Like, it's more fit for the comics. It doesn't feel like the story is like shoved in. It feels more cohesive. I really liked the black and white little gimmick, but also the fact that Dick like tried to be an underhanded jerk and they had to kind of trick him back. That seems very charmed to me. So this felt very much like I was watching an episode.
It was very much like an episode. Yeah, it wasn't probably the most heavy of episodes or issues, but it's just like one of those fun episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. One thing I also have noticed about this artist too is that you can honestly tell who's who.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Compared to some other issues where like they look literally too much similar, and it's like it's happening in other episodes where like we were all confused, like, wait, who's talking right now? They look exactly the same.
I was very excited to have Tess on to praise her artwork because I'm just like, I love it. It's so good, and it's definitely noticeable when you go from certain issues and then to this one. You're like, oh yeah, this is good.
I think Tess is the best at drawing Phoebe so far. Like, 'cause you can tell that's Alyssa Milano.
Yeah. But yeah, I enjoyed this one too. Definitely good points of interest in here, like little things that could lead to other things. I can't say that the meat of the plot was super exciting, but it was still enjoyable. Like, it was just a good thing. And the twist ending is super shocking and fun too. So yeah, I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
I do want to say that was my favorite part, was that little twist ending. It's just like, oh, goosebumps. And I also enjoyed how Paige was just pissed off this entire issue. From the beginning, she was just pissed.
Yeah, she was. All right. Anything for put that in my canonical hat? I didn't have anything wrong with it. Mostly just callbacks like we talked about. Tips for future white letters.
Oh, we're really just messengers? Guides? Think of us as guardian angels for good witches.
Tips for future white letters.
I was out being a force of good in the universe.
What's the moral?
The moral is that if you know how to glamour, you can get a lot done. Also, the moral comes down to, like, at the end of the day, Paige knows that there's certain things that she can and legit cannot do. And it's pretty much kind of telling that in a way. Like, when she was like, we can take him and leave. And then, like, at the end of the day, she's like, no, I know we can't. But, we could. We easily could. Like,
what I get out of this one is the law doesn't always protect people like the way it should, because by law the baby should go to the dad, but the dad's like a shit person. So even though Paige is using the wrong means, it's for the right reason, and she's protecting a child.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, mine is because this kind of played into that noir mood. I put feelings of despair may cause cynicism in oneself, but it doesn't mean you have to live in that place forever. So you can find ways to move on and pull yourself out of these situations. Yeah.
I like
that. This would be where, onomatopoeia happens, but this issue had no onomatopoeias whatsoever. So,
yeah, what the duck?
So there's none to talk about, so skip that. What's the most valuable panel?
My favorite is my favorite for multiple reasons. I'm sure Kevin has a hint of what it probably is. This is a picture of baby Henry, not only because he has powers, but he has fucking ice powers. I'm obsessed with ice. I love Iceman. I love that he has powers. I love that he has ice powers. This is so exciting to me. I can't wait to read more.
Yeah, and it's funny, we wanted this to be Melinda's power. Remember when we talked about how that should have been something that she should have got, and now we have him doing it. Like, oh, okay. Yeah. It's supposed to be mortal. This mortal baby. What's happening here? All right. But yeah, that was my most valuable panel too. It's just so cool looking. And to see Ice in this way in Charmed, because we did have cryokinesis a little bit, but not to this extent, and this was very exciting.
The baby, yeah, no, I agree though. The baby getting powers is honestly the best part of the whole thing.
Yeah,
I just not gonna lie. I think it would be kind of funny though, like because obviously, past life Prue, she had this power in a way, but she had to do the whole blow like from her hand. So I think it would have been funny if like, right? I think it would have kind of been funny if like he just like put his hand like waved over his hand or something around his mouth, and all of a sudden like frost just came out of his mouth instead of like just thing of power from his hand. Like,
oh, you mean like? Let me blow on your beer and chill it. Oh, sexy. Speaking of that, what's the sexiest drawing? You like my little segue there?
Yeah, I like that. That was smooth. My favorite drawing is honestly when she's meeting up with what's his name, Chris, the dad, the young dude, the 17-year-old, the dude she's getting drinks with, the date. I loved how she looked and with the dress, and then like I said, I think it made me think back to her ex conjuring up the jewelry.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, same thing for me. I knew I needed to get Paige, like one of her in that blue dress because it's so sexy on her. So this is going to sound a little random at first, but I have my reasons. Mm-hmm. I went with the picture of Dick and Paige in front of the safe, only because we see both of their butts. And I love the way Paige is standing right there with her like hands up and her feet like slightly turned in like she's doing the time warp. It's just a fun picture.
I love that. My favorite, my sexiest is going to be Paige when she's casting the spell here. Your Sabrina picture.
That is a good one.
I think it's just so beautiful and so magical and so witchy. A little bit of ominous and eeriness. It's just really cool. So
it brings me back to that picture. Actually, brings me back to the Buffy comics when Willow's casting her spells and doing her potions.
I like it.
All right, so now we're at issue ranking. So what would you rank this one? Magically Delicious, Pretty Witchin', A Sorcerer's Apprentice, Disenchanting, or Vanquishable?
I say Pretty Witchin'.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Pretty Witchin' because it was really good, but it probably could have been a little better, but it was really good.
Yeah, I'm in the same. Like, it's a fun ride. It was enjoyable, but there's not a lot of stuff going on, really, in the grand scheme of things. So, yeah, it's just like a good adventure. Pretty Witchin'.
With this one too, compared to like a lot of the other issues, I've noticed the storylines. Like with a lot of the other issues, they're giving us stories with all three sisters, and this one it was mostly just about Paige and what she was dealing with.
Yeah, and this is another one of those one-off, because we have like kind of those one-off stories. We have the Piper's Place, we had the Morality Bites Back, and we have this one. So each one of the sisters had their own one-off.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And this is actually the last issue in Volume 3. All right, but because this is our final issue of the volume, it's time for a Grimoire game.
What is this, some kind of game?
Grimoire Games!
Some people think this is entertainment.
Oh.
But it's not gonna be. It's gonna be a very easy game that we're gonna take together. This is a little quiz I found online about noir movies, and I don't really know noir movies. I know Sean hasn't seen any. I haven't seen any, so it'll be really fun to see how awful we do. But just a little quick 10-question quiz. So let's see what we do. I guess this is based off of Eddie Muller. Oh, I get it, because Eddie Mullen was in Charmed Noir. It's probably based off of him, because Eddie Muller is like some film noir guru, czar of noir guy.
Oh.
I get it now. Number 1. Number 10 on Eddie Muller's list in this 1948 Dane Clark film where he plays a tormented young man whose issues lead him into a murderous path. Name the film. Cher isn't in it. So that's good. So these are the options. Moonrise, Moonstruck, Moonglow, The Moon and Sixpence. So Cher is in Moonstruck, so we can eliminate that one.
Bad.
So it's either Moonrise, Moonglow, or The Moon and Sixpence. Any votes?
I'm saying Moonrise.
I was thinking Moonrise.
Okay,
but
let's go
for
with
no
it.
reason.
Film historians consider Out of the Past, 1947, a classic example of film noir with a complicated plot, dark storyline, dark cinematography, and classic femme fatale. What actor, who made several film noir appearances, starred? James Cagney, Dane Clark, Robert Mitchum, or Orson Welles? Cagney's coming to mind?
Cagney, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. In what sports-oriented entertainment does Richard Widmark become embroiled in Night in the City, 1950? Horse racing, professional wrestling, college basketball, or soccer? I don't know.
I feel like it's either wrestling or basketball.
Wrestling.
Let's go with wrestling. Okay. In Nightmare Alley, 1947, what handsome star shed his normally leading man image to play a con man who descends into a carnival geek? Oh. Tyrone Power, Robert Taylor, Clark Gable, or Spencer Tracy? See, I don't know most of these names. I know Clark Gable. That's it.
Spencer
Tracy sounds familiar.
I know Dick Tracy. Ooh, Dick Tracy. Let's go with Spencer Tracy, then. We'll see what happens. At number 6 is The Maltese Falcon, 1941.
I know that one.
Oh my gosh. One of Humphrey Bogart's classic films. He plays Dashiell Hammett, Sam Spade searching for the bejeweled falcon. Sidney Greenstreet and Peter Lorre play the usual suspects, but who is the real culprit revealed in the final screen? Alicia Cook Jr., Mary Astor, Ward Bond, or Lee Patrick?
Mary Astor.
All right.
I'm just saying things. I don't know if there's any like credence to these.
I know. I have nothing to go on most of the time. Double indemnity refers to life insurance that pays double if the victim is killed by accident. Fred McMurray and Barbara Stanwyck plot against her husband to make this happen. Who played the relentless insurance investigator who ferrets out the scheme? Edward G. Robinson, Francois Tone, David Niven, or Sean Connery?
Sean Connery. Connery.
Connery more?
You're so funny.
Sure. The Asphalt Jungle, 1950, is a film noir and heist film directed by John Huston. It was nominated for numerous awards, but in terms of trivia, who was the starlet who stirred interest around Hollywood? Zaza Gabor, Mommy Van Doren, Jane Mansfield, or Marilyn Monroe?
Jane Mansfield.
Because it sounds like James Mansfield, who was on this podcast. To identify number 3 on the list, you only need to identify the source of this quote. All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up. Oh. DOA, Sunset Boulevard, 8.5, or Son of Palaface?
Sunset Boulevard. I know this one.
Yeah,
Sunset Boulevard.
That's what I was going to say. That's just a very famous line.
Yeah.
It is.
I remember Robin Williams saying it in Mrs. Doubtfire. At the lofty number 2 spot is something of a surprise. Crisscross. Oh, it's like crisscross, but it's crisscross. Triple Cross, who plays the famous femme fatale to Burt Lancaster's lead. Herman Munster would know. Angelica Houston, Carolyn Jones, Yvonne DiCarlo, or Christina Ricci. Some of these are very like modern names.
Well, they gave us a hint. Herman Munster would know. I think it's the Carolyn Jones.
Yeah, did she play the mom in that show?
I think so.
Okay, in the Munsters. All right, last question. The number one film, Noir, stars Humphrey Bogart in one of his better dramatic roles, although not one of his best remembered. In what film noir does Bogart play a writer with a dark side? Oh, The Petrified Forest, Casablanca, In a Lonely Place, The Cane Mutiny. I kind of want to say Lonely Place.
In a Lonely Place.
Yeah.
That was my guess, too.
All right, so we were right with Moonrise. We were wrong with James Cagney. It was Robert Mitchum for number 2, Out of the Past. 3 was right with Professional Wrestling. 4 we were wrong. It was not Spencer Tracy. It was Tyrone Power. 5 was right with Mary Astor. 6 was wrong. It was not Sean Connery. It was Edward G. Robinson. And number 7 was not Jane Mansfield, but Marilyn Monroe. Close enough. Number 8, we were right with Sunset Boulevard. Number 9, we were wrong with Carolyn Jones. It was Yvonne DiCarlo. All right. And then number 10, we were right with Lonely Place. So we got 5 out of 10 right. Yay!
Yay!
I'll take it.
That's not bad for a group of guys who have never watched any of these movies.
That's true. We did pretty good just guessing. All right, so that's the end. Sean, tell us what's next.
I've been waiting for you to ask me this because, Kevin, this is the most beautiful cover art. I am coming all over the place looking at this artwork. I love it so much. So we see Piper with like a red cloak on her, and there's a fairy looking forlorn on her shoulder. She's holding the Book of Shadows, which, interesting little tidbit, is it's melting. The Book of Shadows is melting. There's a unicorn with a very flaccid horn behind her. And I believe this is a sad-looking leprechaun sitting next to her. Issue 20 is called The Old Witcheroo, and it says, magical beings run amok in the streets, sending the powerless into hiding. Cut off from the elders and the angels of destiny, there is no one to turn to for help. All hope seems lost in a world in which the charmed ones are no longer charmed.
And I'm going to tell you, too, that the next issue, there's a time jump. It's 6 months after this one.
So they have like 5 more babies in that time?
You would think, yeah. But it's just like in season 6 when Pepper found out she was pregnant, and then the next episode, she's all of a sudden 6 months pregnant.
Oh, and that's funny because in this
they
one,
did do that.
Mm-hmm.
She makes the comment, "You're barely 3 months pregnant." So if we make a 6-month jump, that's 9 months.
I know. Calc wants to dance. So look forward to that. MJ, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram.
You want to say where or no? You just want to say, find me there.
Sorry. Have fun searching. On Twitter, you can get a hold of me. It's at KOGUE92. And then Instagram is EMBOI92.
Sean, where can they find you?
You can find me on Marvelous Galaxy of Disney, where we have your latest Star Wars, Marvel, Disney news. You can find me on Once Upon a Cult, where we are plowing through the last season to get to number 100. Or you can find me on
Solving for X. We're covering the 90s show. Yay. And then you can follow this podcast at Words of the Witches, all the places, except for Twitter, where that's Words of Witches. Email us at wordsofwitchespod@gmail.com. Be sure to rate and review. That's really helpful for us here. Do that on Apple or Spotify. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Your destiny still awaits.
Thank you for having me, guys. This was so much fun.